Hi, I'm George Edwards. I'm the Town Council Chair, and I'm just here to speak about some frequently asked questions about the Charter Amendment. The first thing is, what is the Charter Amendment? Right now, Section 801 of the Town Charter says the capital improvement projects of 100,000 or more require affirmative vote from voters. The Charter Amendment changes the words "must be approved" to "shall be subject to overrule by the voters." This change will allow the Town Council to enter into contracts to spend $100,000 or more on capital items without voters' pre-approval, but still leaves a way for voters to overturn the council vote if they disagree. The second question we get is, why is this change needed? We need to make this change for business development. We have a lot of development in the works, and in order for the grant money and accepting and spending the grant money, we need to be allowed to spend over $100,000 without going to the voters for every decision. This is pretty critical in regards to the actual business development, because businesses don't want to wait for anywhere weeks or months to find out if their proposal will be able to go through or not. The other thing it will allow is different costs that come up through the year for the town. We have things like snow plows, and we have sidewalks and road repairs, and those have previously come in under 100,000, but now and going forward will likely reach over the $100,000 limit. And for just day-to-day spending, we would need that ability instead of going to the voters every time we need to spend that type of money. The third question we get is, why do we want to work with companies like BioFine? What are the benefits to Lincoln residents? The main benefit to this is good, high-paying jobs. A company like BioFine, we could see hundreds of direct jobs as they grow, and even more indirect jobs, such as truck drivers, gas stations, having to sell gas, electricians, plumbers, all the ancillary jobs that go with a thing like this, and construction jobs as the project starts. The other thing this brings is tax revenue to town of Lincoln. More tax revenue means less taxes that you have to pay. So that's in my mind, a good thing for the town, and good thing for the taxpayers. The fourth question we get is, does this give the town council a blank checkbook? And no, it does not. The town is still subject to the overrule from citizens and taxpayers. So the voters will still have that right to overrule anything. And if I can speak bluntly about that, if anyone knows this town council has been following this town council, we don't spend money like we have a blank checkbook. We do spend money on things that are needed, infrastructure, and things like that. We have an ambulance service, snow plows. Everyone likes the roads plowed in the winter. If we didn't spend that money, then roads wouldn't get plowed. We wouldn't have firefighters. We wouldn't have police. Those are all services that cost money, and that's what we spend the money on in infrastructure. We wouldn't have almost $7 million in investment accounts and just leaving that money in there and spending the interest if we just had a blank checkbook and spent money how we wanted to. We are voted in by the taxpayers, and we do, if the taxpayers vote us in because they trust us to make those decisions, and I would hope that taxpayers trust us to continue to make those decisions. All right. The fifth question we get is, what is the overall process? Any 5 registered voters can request the petition, a blank petition. They have 20 days to get 10% of the voter signatures. If they do, the town clerk must schedule a public hearing within 30 days, and then the town clerk must call a special municipal election within 14 days. If the council does approve spending, there would be a grace period before that money is spent to allow for a petition and for a overrule action to happen. So you wouldn't have to worry that if we vote for something and the money would be spent immediately, there would be a grace period for the overrule process to happen if needed. The sixth question we get is, why can't we just have a special election every time? And the basic thing to that is, the special elections take time and cost money. I believe it's a couple $1,000s easily per election, so that's just more money that we're spending to hopefully get to the same result. And the seventh question is, why is the town pushing this change so quickly, and why didn't the public have more notice? We didn't enter into the agreement until July, and that's when we had the tentative agreement with Bifine, and that's when we knew that we were going to have to move this project forward. This has been, if anyone's been following the council, this has been a project that the charter amendment has been discussed at length for the last couple of years about when we should do it. But now we're presented with a business in town, potentially coming to town, that's going to create hundreds of jobs and create hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax revenue. And so now is the time to make that change. Myself, I would be voting for this to go through. I think the town needs as many new jobs as we can, and it would be in my opinion, that if this does fail, that would potentially end all economic development in the town of Lincoln. It would be assigned to all potential businesses that would create jobs in the hundreds. We're not talking jobs, if a business comes in with 10, 15 people, but for large manufacturing jobs, or type jobs that would employ hundreds of people, that would signal the end of that, and that the town is not interested in those type of jobs. And that's why I would vote for this, because I'd like to see any and all jobs come to Lincoln.